David Emile Durkheim is his full name, but he is better known by the name Emile Durkheim.
David Emile Durkheim was born in April 15, 1858 in Epinal, located in the Lorraine region of France. His family was devotedly Jewish, and his father, grandfather, and great-grandmother were all rabbis. Durkheim, however, broke with tradition and went to École Normale Supérieure in 1879, where he studied philosophy.
He graduated in 1882 in Lycée Louis Le Grand and the Collège d'Épinal. In the latter institution, he received bachelor's in letters in sciences in 1874 and 1875 respectively. He won entrance exam to École Normale Supérieure in 1879 and passed his graduation in 1882 and began teaching the subject in France. In 1887, he was appointed to teach social sciences and pedagogy at the University of Bordeaux, allowing him to teach the first ever official sociology courses in France. Also in 1887, Durkheim married Louise Dreyfus, with whom he would eventually have two children named Moise Durkheim and Andre Durkheim. In that place, Durkheim had great success publishing his doctoral thesis on the division of social labor and the rules of sociological method. His first major sociological work was The Division of Social Labor and the Rules of Sociological Method. The division of social labor in 1893 is in direct proportion with the dynamic or moral density of a society. This is defined as a combination of the concentration of people and the amount of socialization of a group of our society. The Rules of Sociological Method in 1895. A social fact is every way of acting, fixed or not, capable of exercising on the individual an external constraint, or again, every way of acting which is general throughout a given society, while at the same time existing in its own right, independent of its individual manifestation. In 1902, Durkheim was finally given a promotion in the form of the chair, the science of education at the Sorbonne. In 1906, he became a full professor, and in 1993, his position was changed to formally include sociology, and thus the starts of Emile Durkheim become one of the pioneers of criminology. His writings continue to be widely read and remain influential in many disciplines within the field of social sciences, especially criminology and sociology. Scholars working in the Durkheimian tradition agree that crime serves the integrating function of maintaining social solidarity, and his concept of anomie often is used in more recent theoretical perspectives such as strain theory. Durkheim and anomie theory. Of the many contributions which Durkheim has made to the field of criminology, his advancement of the theory of anomie stands out above all others. Social sciences have found this theoretical construct the most valuable means of explaining the etiology of crime. The theory of anomie is the one fundamental principle which follows consistently from the entire schematic structure of society. For Durkheim, the elemental factors which give solidarity and cohesiveness to society are exteriority and constraint arising from the communication. And after Durkheim and anomie theory, Emile Durkheim established a journal entitled L'Année Sociologique in 1898, suicide in 1897, and the elementary forms of religious life in 1912. Durkheim Sociology of Knowledge. Durkheim was one of the first thinkers in the Western tradition to examine how an individual's social multi affects the way that individual perceives the world. His most definitive statement on the subject can be found in Forms, a book dedicated not only to studying religion, but also to understand how logical thought arises out of society. Other works, such as Pragmatism and Sociology, a posthumous lecture series given late in his life, elaborate his views. His Sociology of Knowledge argues that many, if not all, facts of an individual's thought and conception of the world are influenced by society. Not only are common beliefs, ideas, and language determined by our social milieu, but even the concept and categories necessary for logical thought, such as time, space, causality, and number, have their source in society. This logical structure helps to order and interpret the world, ensuring that individuals have a more or less homogeneous understanding of the world and how it operates, without which human society would not be possible. To begin to understand Durkheim's analysis, a fundamental concept of his sociology of knowledge, representations collectives, needs to be discussed. When Durkheim began writing, sociology was not recognized as an independent field of study. As part of the campaign to change this, he went to great lengths to separate sociology from all other disciplines, especially philosophy. In consequence, while Durkheim's influence on the social sciences has been extensive, his relationship with philosophy remains ambitious. Nevertheless, Durkheim maintained that sociology and philosophy are in many ways complementary, going so far as to say that sociology has an advantage over philosophy, since his sociological method provides the means to study philosophical questions empirically, rather than metaphysically or theoretically. As a result, Durkheim often used sociology to approach topics that have traditionally been reserved for philosophical investigation. For the purpose of this article, Durkheim's strictly sociological thought will be set aside to allow his contribution to philosophy to take prominence. This fall largely in the realms of the philosophy of religion, social theory, the philosophy of social science, hermeneutics, the philosophy of language, morality, mathematics, political theory, and epistemology. Durkheim's deconstruction of the self, as well as his analysis of the crisis brought on by modernity and his projections about the future of Western civilization, also deserve significant consideration. The outbreak of World War I would prove to have disastrous consequences for Durkheim. The war took many of his promising pupils, and in 1915, his son André Durkheim also died in combat. From this, Durkheim would never recover, and in November 15, 1917, he died of a stroke, leaving his last great La Morale or Morality with a preliminary introduction.